Good evening, everybody. I am Bill, and this is Late Night on Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures. It's good to see everybody here. And let me run through the chat here, and let's just see who all has shown up so far. Susudio came in really early today to say hi to me and said she would see me later, but she's here now. Manic Plastic Toy Shop Mike comes on and says, "Hey guys," and Susudio says hello to me. And OBS is here. Good to see you, OBS. And she says that's a jamming tune. I love that tune. It's called "Shipping Up to Boston," and it's been covered there by our friends Mia Sano and Allie the Piper. Good stuff. And pop actor Rick comes on and said Bill Letterman is on. Yeah, I stole all of my opening from the old David Letterman show, Late Night with David Letterman. The original one, if you will. And figuratively speaking is here. Hey, good to see you, Chris. Glad you showed up, man. And let's see who else is here. No, Chris, that's not your name. Chris is manic. Is everything's plastic. Sorry about that, man. Johnny Sorensen says, all right, weirders. Mike Fee showed up. Good to see you, Mike. Good to see you, man. Glad to see everybody here. Pop Actor says you're stalking him, Mike. We were on Ostradamus Toys a little earlier. I think that's an inside joke there. And, hey, Joneser, you've lost a little weight there.
I have lost a little weight. It's all this book reading has just melted the pounds off.
How He-Man Mastered the Universe.
I'm pretending to read it, Bill, but I'm just looking at the pictures.
Oh, let's look at the pictures with you. Ooh, I like that picture. That looks like from the movie.
Yeah, it's the first couple of chapters cover the origin of He-Man, the toy line, yada yada cartoon. Then the remaining 3/4 are a complete production history of the canon film and all the travesty of behind the scenes that's well known by now and what happened with all of that. It's a really good read. I've read it years ago on digital, but now I got the physical one. And it's great.
Is that still available on Amazon?
Yeah, that's where I got it. It's been out for years, but I only just bought it again the last few weeks to have the physical version to read.
Oh, Ocean Breeze Salty just donated $10. Nice. Happy Father's Day. Had a good dad, so I honor a good dad. Thank you so much, OBS. We appreciate that. Appreciate that, sweetie. Yeah, and Pop Actor said just like Playboy, he just reached the picture.
That's right. Just you hide in the middle there.
Now, I remember being in school, we thought we were slick. We would put the Playboy magazine in our book, like we're reading the book. And Mike Fee wants to know more about that book.
It's called, I'll tell you the full thing. It's called How He-Man Mastered the Universe. So it's an independent book by someone who, I read a lot of shit like this. Someone probably did it at university or something like that for an assignment and then turned it into a book. So it's independent. The author is Brian C. Bayer, Toy to Television to the Big Screen. But you look up He-Man books on Amazon or wherever, it comes up. It's fairly ranks high in the searches and that. It's been around for years. And it's a really good resource. It's thoroughly well researched and referenced, and it's like just enjoyable reading if you like that movie. I don't even like that movie, but I love reading this book about the movie.
Actually, I've grown to like the movie better in my old age than I did when I was a kid and I watched it.
I like what it could have been if they hadn't slashed out all the budget and cut it off and shut the whole production down and, just fucked it every step. If it allowed it to continue and been on the standard of, say, a Death Wish or Missing in Action, it could have been a decent film because it had really good talent behind the scenes working on it. You had people worked on Star Wars, people, previs, concept artists, special effects guys. The director had been doing live action shows based on Conan at like some kind of, I don't know, Universal Studios, something like that. So he had good practical knowledge of how to make a barbarian that looks kitschy and odd and live action actually look cool, like a live action Universal Studios sort of thing. So he had a lot of good talent involved in it.
Yeah, and they ran out of money. They went over budget. They ran out of money. It was a shit show there towards the end.
It was the culmination of the end of canon films. Basically, was this film because they bit off more they can chew with Superman 4. And this was meant to have the production budget of at least a Superman 4 or more, or trying to get into like almost like a Rocky kind of film, like a low indie but bigger budget compared to a Z grade film, and all the taxmen and the all their creative accounting where they were leveraging all this bullshit on paper trail caught up with them when this film was in production. That's why it got shut down, because they had no more money to keep playing the old shelf with.
Yeah, there was a video about that, or a movie or something, TV show or something I watched here a while back about that, and it went into
there's been a few. There's been
now,
several documentaries about that, and then there's a couple of canon documentaries.
Did that guy that wrote that book, did he talk about the sequel that they were going to make that they ended up turning into a different movie?
I'm not sure, because it's probably in the back half, and I'm about halfway through reading again, so I don't remember from 5 years ago when I first read it.
They
most likely, because it covers pretty much everything.
They actually had a sequel scripted, and it wasn't going to happen, so they changed a few names and a few concepts in there. I think they turned it into Cyborg or something like that.
I couldn't believe when they did shut the production down. It was at the worst possible time, where the director was forced out of his own pocket to put some money in just to film the end scene. That the Canon guys were going to just go, here's He-Man and Skeletor, credits to be continued. They were just going to end it, and then like that, it would have been terrible if they hadn't actually shot the ending. Yeah,
really. And
like the ending's what people like. The beginning and the ending are the two bits where they had any budget at all for the building, like the sound stage and Skeletor and the inner rooms and all that.
Yeah, Park Factor says that he was pissed. Where were the other main characters? And he said even the characters didn't dress like the figures. Well, who was it? They had some big time designer come in and design all the costumes and stuff, and then they went through there and they're like, "Oh, this looks too silly," and blah blah blah, and they kept working on them, trying to.
Yeah, you had two major guys working on that. I forget the name of the guy, but the guy that worked on that created basically all the visuals that we know as Star Wars, as the original film, all that concept. I forget the name of the guy, but he's very famous for doing that art. And the other guy who worked on it is another very famous comics artist, Mobius, the French artist
that's who moved I'm thinking of. Yeah, Mobius.
Yeah, well, he did that. Those are his illustrations there.
Yeah.
And he has a very particular style, but that's only pre-production concept stuff. The director and other people insisted on changing the boots for Dolph Lundgren He-Man because it was too much like thigh-high stripper boots, aka Galvatron and Transformers the movie. Because he needed to move, and they said, this doesn't work, make them fucking shorter so he can actually move and do stuff and do the sword choreography on screen.
Right. And Pop Actor Rick says the Macy's Parade did a better job. Now, if you've ever seen that is a pretty cool thing. The Macy's Parade that had He-Man and Skeletor, and they did a whole little act on that.
But there's some great footage on YouTube.
That was the same costumes and guys that were doing the live action show that was going around at the stadiums that the kids were going to.
Yeah, I'd love to see footage of that because he mentions that also.
It's on YouTube now. You can watch the whole damn thing.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah,
there's all sorts of things like that. Like there's Ninja Turtle stage shows and other shit. That it's specifically American, and if they do an international one, they usually get local people, so it's a completely different thing. Like I saw a live action stage show of Ninja Turtles that tied in with when the movie came out in New Zealand, and it was just specific to New Zealand, and it's completely different than the Australian version or the American version they did.
Wow. And I meant to say smobla block
shambolics and bullshit to Bjorn.
Bjorn when he came in, but he's got to go to bed. So good night, gents. I'll catch the replay later. Thank you for showing up for a little while with us there, Bjorn.
Hey, Bjorn.
I enjoyed watching you and Will toy hunting together. That looked like a lot of fun.
People spoke very, very highly of Bjorn that had been to Joe Fair, spoke very highly of him, saying he's very friendly, approachable, and good guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can attest to that. He is a very friendly and approachable guy. He's been on the show a couple of times. We like Bjorn. He's a majestic guy.
He is majestic.
Let's see. Even Universal Studios had a show of Motu that they were giving away a free figure. That's on YouTube too. Well, yeah, I'd like to see that.
Cool.
Too.
I'm going to look those up.
Yeah.
I've been going like Masters mad in the last 6 months. All the figures, both lines. I've been rewatching all the She-Ra and the original cartoon, the modern cartoon, the 2000 and 2 one, which got cut off about season 2, unfortunately, when it was getting really good.
I thought they did a third season with the Snake
No,
Man.
there was only really there was only truly one season, as in like your 80s style 65 episode-ish production count to run out for a year and repeats and sell you big ad blocks. And they divided that up in different territories, however. But when you get to season 2, there's only like half as many episodes, and it ends right in the middle of the Snake Man stories.
Oh,
and I was enjoying it. I was watching it like all the way through for the first time. I started a couple of times, stopped for various reasons. Like I've had a couple of hard drives die and shit like that where I lost my old files, so I had to start again.
Oh wow, yeah, I hate when that happens.
Yeah, so I got them again because they were on YouTube, and I was just binging them on Friday nights and got through them all. And I was like, "Is that it?" I looked up, "Is there more?" And like, no, it got cancelled. The toy line ran right through, but the show got cancelled because of your 3-year toy cycle where they wind it up and go, "That's it. We're not going to make any more money. Move on, do something else."
Yeah, that sucks when shit like that happens. But you know,
great show. The first half of the first season is it's a little bit cheesy, but as it goes on, it gets more serious in tone and more like your average DC comic or that sort of thing.
I remember when it was on television, and I tried my damnedest to watch it, and I only got a couple of episodes in, and I
did the same and stopped.
Yeah.
It gets much better in the second half of the first season, and I actually got so annoyed with some episodes, I skipped to season 2, and what season 2 kicks ass all the way through. It's as good as any of the best comics they've done over the years, and the later half of season 1's also gets a better tone to it that's closer to, say, Batman animated or Gargoyles, and less like, I don't know, watching fucking DuckTales or Gummy Bears or whatever.
Right.
Which I like all those shows. I'm not knocking any of them.
And Susudio says, my Joneser has not only lost weight, but he has a slight accent.
Well, he's got a shocking accent, all right.
Yeah. Actually, this is Johnny Sorensen. Joneser will be here with us, but he's running a little late tonight. He already told me that. So I told Johnny that he was in the hot seat. So there you go.
Yeah, you got it. If you want to get on the Moturnian diet, you need one of these guys to just whip you into shape and keep you moving.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to watch a video here in a little while of some of New Jack's cameos. And if he was still alive, he could put your ass into some good shape with that shit that he threatens in those. That's funny as hell. My buddy Mike, he's going to be with us here after a while, but he says, yeah, I thought the Snake Man story was really good. And I have looked into that, and that was the Snake Man story that we should have got in the old Filmation.
Yeah. They built up a lot of really cool lore in that 2002, and then they tied that I mean, you had that toy line for the show, but they tied a lot of that into the Mattel Club Classics lore, expanded on that show's lore and that version of the Snake Man, and it was really cool.
Yeah, and I'm with Pop Actor Rick. You know, the He-Man and Masters of the Universe movie, I guess it was just Masters of the Universe, is something that you appreciate better as an adult than I would think you as a kid. Because as a kid, you're like, this doesn't look like He-Man.
No,
this doesn't look anything like the cartoon.
Why didn't they make an animated film? Is the other logical question, really?
Yeah, where's Battle Cat? That doesn't look like Grayskull. Blah blah blah. Yeah. They come to Earth, and it turns into a Star Wars ripoff.
And they wanted to actually make a proper fantasy fucking film like Star Wars style, but Canon was the wrong company to do that. They didn't have the money.
Now, Canon was low budget all the way. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but they've done some cool stuff though, like You're Missing in Action and your Death Wish sequel. Some of that stuff's good fun, and then you got the cheesy stuff like the Franco Nero ninja films in it, like Retrobusting talks about. Those are so bad they're good, whereas other stuff is just good enough. They also did some independent films that actually won some awards, like European style stuff that nobody really paid. Your average cinema person's not going to watch.
And let me address my friend Susudio here. Yes, I did get your emails, and yes, I did watch some of those videos. I didn't get very far into the Greyhound going on a trip video from the 1950s, but that looked like fun. and I'm probably going to get a chance to watch that tomorrow. But I did watch the top 10 wrestlers that were hard to work with, and they were all 10 the ones that I figured that he would cover on that. He didn't cover people like Buzz Sawyer though, who was absolutely insane. If you remember Hacksaw Buzz Sawyer, you ever heard of him, Johnny?
Sorry, who?
Buzz Sawyer.
No, I don't know.
If you want to hear what a piece of shit Buzz Sawyer was, you got to listen to Dutch Mantel talking about him over there on Dutch.
Yeah, he does a great podcast, that Dutch Mantel. I've been trying to catch up. I've been listening to podcasts for a decade of different stuff, but I've only got into wrestling ones the last 6 months, and there's so damn many of them which I love. But I'm like, I try and listen to the complete run of, say, the Foley podcast, the Ric Flair one, and then get into the other ones, the Dutch Mantel. There's a Kurt Angle one. There's Kevin Nash does a really good one. He talks about all kinds of cool stuff, like all his multiple careers before he's a wrestler and that. And there's just so many, and I'm catching up. But I listen to heaps of them every week.
And Pop Actor Rick is talking about Howard the Duck. Now, look, man.
I still never watched that.
I have not seen that movie in years.
George Lucas is finest now.
Yeah, I know. I probably need to watch that one more time. But the first time I watched it, I was pissed. That was a horrible movie. I thought they did the best one that they could have done with technology, but they did. Well, and also with the shitty budget that Canon gave them to work with, talking about the Masters of the Universe movie.
Mm-hmm.
OBS says, I liked Howard the Duck, but I was an adult when I saw it. Yeah, well.
The Howard the Duck was an adult character that was very much like pushed into like kids' comics, but there's a lot of, the whole character was always sort of adult. It was kind of a bit of a like fucking with the publisher and audience, that whole character.
Hey, Salty D, good to see you. Glad you showed up to see me for a little while. And Mike Fee says, I love Bray Wyatt, and I heard of Buzz, but not a Dutch fan. Look, the original gimmick that Bray Wyatt had was the one they should have stuck with. That one was the original one. Yeah, the one where he had the Wyatt family behind him, and he wore the Hawaiian shirt, and he would come out and talk all that trash. That was actually based on a gimmick that another wrestler had years before, and I can't remember what his name was. But anyway, yeah, that was what they should have stuck with, because that gimmick was over. The rest of them, not so much.
So what was after that, when he became the Fiend, or what happened?
Well, yeah, he became the Fiend, but he also had that fun house thing.
Right.
Deal. Yeah, all that shit.
That was after I hadn't seen wrestling for years. I've only seen like images and the figures and that. I'm still trying to catch up on different events to see what stories they did.
Yeah, let me catch up on the chat, and I see you down there, Joneser. My normal co-host has joined me down there. Garbage Pail Kids was another one I hated back then, but love. That I've seen that a few years ago after seeing it.
I've seen the cover in the VHS store as a kid, and even as a kid, we chose not to watch it.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, but it's so bad it's good now.
It was shopped around to like Z grade territory, to where, you know.
Mm.
But I love the stickers. Like what's his name?
Yeah, the stickers were good. Yeah,
the stickers are amazing, and the designs are done by one of the best underground comics artists ever, Art Spiegelman.
The chat is moving so fast, I can't keep up with it tonight here. Thought Howard the Duck was so campy, it was so bad it was good. Yeah, it sounded like another one of them MST3K fodder movies, you know.
I'm going to have to watch it one day, but I refuse to watch it by myself. If it's like a Grindhead Jim Patreon thing, we watch along when we're drinking something, I'll watch it, but otherwise I'll fuck off. I'm not going to watch it.
Right, and let's bring Joneser on in here. Hey, Joneser.
Get him in.
How's it going, fellas? There's nothing normal about this co-host, by the way. Nothing normal at all.
Regular. Let's put it
there. You go. Okay, nothing regular about him either.
Abby Normal. That's the nickname. Isn't it?
Well, there is medications you can take that will help you be regular.
We're working on it. We're working,
and also eat your greens. I don't know. I don't know. You live up north. I don't know if y'all have turnip greens up there or not, but they do.
I do work in a organic vegetable plant. I am the manager, so I do have access.
Turnip greens are
so what's
the
going on?
However, you got to season them things correctly to make them edible.
Right.
And everybody's just showed up tonight, and they're just chatting away down there. The story of Bruiser Brody was sad. Yeah, it was. All right. So we're going to bring Mike on here, and he's going to talk about his toys here in a little bit.
Awesome.
OBS says you want to hear a Star Wars dad joke. Of course.
I do.
Absolutely, OBS. You tell that joke, and we'll pop it up here on the screen.
I am waited with bated breath.
I swear. What does Pop Actor say here? How sad his case was handled poorly. Talking about Bruiser Brody. Yeah. I was asking Johnny earlier if he had ever heard of Buzz Sawyer. You ever heard of Buzz Sawyer? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was actually watching a couple of his matches on old Mid-South.
Yeah, I think Buzz was insane.
Yeah. Probably like legit insane and played the part for the camera and turned it up insane, but
yeah. Here we go. All right. The question is, what do Ewoks taste like? Chicken.
Endor.
We're waiting, OBS. We give up. I don't know.
A little chewy. That's good. I'm going to tell that to Lyric.
Lyric will appreciate that.
You like that.
There was a meme going last year from Iconicon where somebody was talking about Ewok feet. They had one of the guys that works on the costumes or something on Star Wars talking about Ewoks, and everyone kept going on about Ewok feet.
I remember as a kid, a friend had that Ewok play set. It was pretty cool. You like send them down a tree trunk and then they pop out the other end. Mm-hmm. And I remember playing with that as a kid, and we thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I remember the Ewok television movies as well. That one,
Caravan of Courage. What was that one?
Pretty bad.
Yeah, they were. My nostalgia remembers them better than they are.
I find it funny. I'm not a Star Wars guy. I mean, I have a general knowledge of them because it's part of your life and that. But I find it funny when they get a bit revisionist. Like, how many Star Wars films is there? It's like, well, there's been that one, plus the 2 Ewok ones, plus the bloody Clone Wars animated movie special, and the Christmas. That's a fuckload of films that people are.
They're making more every second if you count their television. They just need to stop.
I was just thinking of ones. I was thinking of ones only up to the year 2000.
All right. I got a question. Star Wars guys. I got a question. Did anybody actually watch Andor?
I did not.
I didn't watch it because I don't watch it. I watched Mandalorian. I don't watch the other shows, but
I watched Mandalorian, but I quit somewhere in the latest season.
I actually watched Andor. Now, it gets a little slow in the middle.
Is that the guy with the Rogue One guy?
Yeah, that's the Rogue One guy. This is his origin story, basically.
Yeah,
I think they're going.
I followed other people online, but I didn't.
Supposedly, they're going to keep on going with this, and lead it right up into Rogue One because he died at the end of Rogue One. Spoiler, folks. But anyway,
I saw Rogue One. I liked Rogue One.
All right, Andor,
not Suicide Squad, not Dirty Dozen, Rogue One.
Yeah, Cassian Andor was like the main character in that with the other girl, whatever her name was. But yeah, it's not a bad show. It really isn't. It kind of shows what's going on behind the scenes and how really how they say one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. Well, you really get to see that.
Yeah,
really get to see what kind of just people that there are in the alliance to restore the old republic, which is basically a resistance group. So how splintered it was, and how hard it was to get them all to cooperate. They all
dives more into the politics, like kind of like Rogue One did, because Rogue One was very political Star Wars film.
It seems good territory to mine, because the original films just hit it. Oh, there's a rebellion, but I mean, there's a whole fucking universe of planets, so we only see a tiny little amount of people.
I don't have Disney anymore, and that dude was a rip-off of Han Solo. I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but I did enjoy Rogue One. Well, Rogue One was the better of the new Star Wars movies.
Yeah, it was watchable.
It had some big moments.
I liked it better than I did the 3 sequel films that sucked butts, and the Han Solo film that nobody wanted.
Yeah, I saw that in the cinema, not because I wanted to, just my missus wanted to go, and we watched it, and I was like, I think as a generic film, it's got okay action sequences, but as a Star Wars film, it was fucking garbage.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it's not good, if that makes any sense.
If you change the names of all, the characters and made it something else, it'd probably be more watchable.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it, but at the same time, I was like, if only we could have got this when Harrison Ford was young, it might have been better, but we didn't.
He'd fake his face onto whoever that guy is, and it might be better. I don't know.
Do fake faces.
Some of it didn't make sense too, because like you remember in Empire, like they had the story about how Lando had the Falcon first, and he like won him in a bet, and then like you kind of have an idea what was like or how that to happen, and every time they mess with that in the prequels or in these other movies, they kind of just go off the rails.
It's better left to your imagination, just like the Boba Fett under the mask. Don't tell us everything. Leave a gap for your brain to fill it in, and then it's fun for everyone.
Yeah, I agree.
I like on Comic Book Man where Lando comes back and he won it again, but it was the big Toys R Us display model. He won from the poker game.
Well, guys, I'm going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to get ready to do some New Jack. How about that?
Yeah. We going to bring Mike in at some point too?
Yeah, Mike's going to come in, and he's going to talk about some She-Ra toys that he's got.
I was messaging him on Instagram about that. I'm kind of looking forward to get into that with him.
Yeah,
I love She-Ra. I'm up to the final disc of the original show.
All right, guys, it's commercial break time. We'll be back right after these messages.
What's this stuff? Some cereal. It's supposed to be good for you. Did you try it? I'm not going to try it. You try it. I'm not going to try it. Let's get Mikey. Yeah. He won't eat it. He hates everything. He likes it. Hey, Mikey.
There are 3 kinds of Life cereals to please all kinds of kids. Regular, cinnamon, and Raisin Life. Part of your family's nutritious breakfast.
This is Messy Marvin. His room is a mess. His clothes are a mess. The only time he doesn't make a mess is when he makes his chocolate milk. He uses good old-fashioned Hershey syrup in the brand new squeeze bottle. Rich, delicious chocolate flavor that only Hershey can deliver without making a mess.
Delicious.
Marvin?
Good old Hershey syrup in a no-mess bottle.
There's something strange in the neighborhood.
So who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters! Each sold separately.
Have no fear. Becky, Steph, and Spangler are here. So are these ghosts. They've got ectoplasm. We've been goofed. Now what? Stay puft Marshmallow Man. Let's show this pile of dessert who's boss. Activate Neutrona Blaster. We ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Peter Venkman, Ectoplasm, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and other figures each sold separately. Ghostbusters, new from Kenner.
You don't see many wild stallions anymore. No, you don't see many wild stallions anymore. And even if he did run off 3 of your best mares, he's one of the last of a wild and very singular breed. Come to where the flavor is. Come to Marlboro Country.
Stop it right there. That one's going to get me demonetized. Demonetized anyway.
The one with the Indian.
Yeah, it's the fanfare in that. I think I stopped it in time. I wanted to show the damn Marlboro commercial. I'm going to have to cut that out. Yeah, we have cigarette commercials on my show, folks.
I like that.
I love those old 70s ads and like Playboy, and that's like flavor country. It's like,
yeah, I mean, come on.
They're really nice. Like I love westerns and that, just the horse and the cowboy and. I hate cigarettes, but I would put a Marlboro Man on the wall.
I'm a big fan of the cowboy movie too.
He is. Pop actor Rick. He is. That is Peter Billingsley, if I'm not mistaken. And yes, I think he'd been in a lot of commercials, but he was the Hershey's commercials were pretty much where he got kind of known.
Got his start.
Yeah. He was Messy Marvin, and I have a few of those commercials. There's one where he paints his treehouse. I haven't made a commercial block with that one yet, but I will. All right. What I planned on doing was I planned on showing this, and luckily everything that I've got tonight I'm able to actually show through StreamYard, so it's not going to be too choppy. Nice. So first we got the New Jack cameos. Now, to set this up, have you seen these before, Jones? Or
yeah, I'm a big fan of New Jack.
Yeah, you've seen these before. Sorensen and Mike have not.
Okay.
Dad has. I apologize, but I was watching these today, and I said, okay. You know, I've cobbled this show together in the time from when I got home from work, almost all the way up until showtime. But New Jack died, but before he died, he couldn't wrestle anymore, and so he was doing these cameos. And what a cameo is basically you pay some celebrity some money, and they cut a little short video for you for whoever you want it to be for, and they usually will call the person's name out in it, and it's a nice little thing for a gift of some sort. Well, New Jack.
Sometimes it's just an audio, like even like an answer phone type message thing where they record whatever you want.
Yeah, New Jack cut some of these, and I got as many of them as I could put together into a little less than 10 minutes. And the last block, there's 2 of them in it, are the last 2 cameos that he did right before he died. But these are a hoot. So check this out, folks, and we'll be right back after these, and y'all just comment on it all you want to, because they're funny as shit.
Yo, this is New Jack, the original gangster, and I'm sending a special shout out to Bob from Rob, wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from the original gangster, New Jack. I heard you like to party like me. Bitch, you couldn't hang with me because the shit that I do will bust your motherfucking heart. I am the OG. Please believe it. Peace. This is New Jack, the original gangster, and I'm sending a special shout out to Mike. I understand you love your cat. Is that the only way you can get some pussy? Well, Mike, I tell you what, I'd like to meet you one day where I can take this fucking knife and stick it in the back of your fucking neck and twist it and put your cat on the other end so I can stab him over too, just so I can hear him say, meow. And then I take this fucking crossbow and put your cat on the wall and boom, right in the back of the neck. There you go, Mike. I just killed your pussy from the original gangster. Merry Christmas, motherfucker. The original gangster. And I'm sending a special shout out to Charmoon Barcher. I heard you was a big New Jack fan. I was also told that you don't like Dusty Rhodes. I'm not surprised. Real recognize real. I wasn't a big Dusty Rhodes fan for a long time, but I got over that shit. So here's to you from the original gangster, New Jack. And I want to send a special shout out to Gopher and Tuck, who sit around all day long playing video games, smoking weed. Well, I got something for you to smoke. Why don't you stick this in your mouth and smoke that motherfucker? And if that don't work, take this crossbow right down the throat. Boom! Happy holidays, motherfuckers. Peace. The original gangster. And I'm stopping by to wish David, a.k.a. Shackle, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I understand you're addicted to video games and you like eating pizza. Well, what you need to do is get your fat ass off the couch and go and run around the block a couple of times. And I'll be behind you chasing you like you're a fat ass turkey, and I'll stick this in your butt. And if that don't work, I get my crossbow and boom! Right in the back of the head. Merry Christmas, motherfucker. Yo, this is New Jack, the original gangster. And I'm stopping by to wish Timmy Danger a happy Friday. Being that you don't celebrate Christmas or any other holiday, then fuck you. I'll come to your house and stick this in the back of your fucking neck. And then I'll get my crossbow and bust you right in your motherfucking eye. Happy Friday, you silly motherfucker. Yo, this is the New Jack, the original gangster. And I'm stopping by to wish Nick Rath a Merry Christmas. I understand you was a backyard wrestler. I never did backyard wrestling, but I did it on video. And I had fun. Hopefully you'll get back in it and go a long way and make some money. If not, I'm coming to your house and stick this in your fucking ribs and twist it and twist it and twist it and then pull your fucking intestines out. And as I do that, I'm gonna get my goddamn crossbow and bust you in your motherfucking neck because you shouldn't have quit. Go back and get your ass back in the ring, boy. From New Jack, the original gangster. Peace. Yo, this is New Jack, the original gangster. And I'm stopping by to wish Timmy Danger a happy Friday. Being that you don't celebrate Christmas or any other holiday, then fuck you. I'll come to your house and stick this in the back of your fucking neck. And then I'll get my crossbow and bust you right in your motherfucking eye. Happy Friday, you silly motherfucker. Yo, this is New Jack, the original gangster. And I'm stopping by to send a special shout out to Will in Nashville. All your homeboys got together and told me to roast your ass. So Will, here you go. You're 37 years old and you still live with your mama and you drink milk. I like to take this knife and stick it in your butt. And then take this fucking taser and fry your ass. And then take my crossbow and bust you in your mother. Happy birthday, mother. Yo, this is New Jack, the original gangster. And I want to send a special shout out to Aubrey. I heard you just got married for the 4th time. Could you not get this shit right? Or keep trying to do it? If you don't do it right the next time, I'm going to take this and come and fucking see you. If that don't work, I'll take this crowbar and come and bust your ass wide open. New Jack, the original gangster. And I want to send a special shout out to Dr. Shot Esquire. I heard you just became an attorney. Well, good for you. Well, everybody knows it's always good to have a good attorney because you might need one to take this and plug it out of your ass. If that don't work, you might need one and take it out of your butt because it's always good to have an attorney to disengage this motherfucking crossbow because you might get shot right in the eye. So Dr. Shot, I'll make sure I keep your motherfucking number on hand, and if you don't like it, I'll bust you in your motherfucking nose. Peace. This is New Jack, the original gangster. And I want to send a special shout out to Brian. I heard you going to the gym. You're trying to get your swole on. Well, I tell you what, if I see you, I'm gonna stick this in your fucking neck. If that don't work, I'll fry your ass. If that don't work, I'll take this crossbow and bust you in your motherfucking eye. Merry Christmas, motherfucker! And come and fucking see you.
And I stopped by to wish Matt a happy birthday from Adam and Leon. They told me that all you do is sit at home on the couch and eat fucking cheeseburgers and hide them up under the fucking couch. You fat motherfucker, you. They also told me that you don't get pussy and you sit around the house watching Scooby-Doo cartoons and jacking your dick, you nasty fucker. I hope I see you where I can cut your goddamn nuts off. From the original gangster, New Jack, happy motherfucking birthday. New Jack, the original gangster. And I'm stopping by for the second time to holler at Snacks. You fat motherfucker, stay on the phone and make Adam his goddamn money. If you don't, I'll come and see you and cut your motherfucking head off and feed it to the hogs. You fat piece of shit. Do your goddamn job, bitch.
I'm a little sad I can't hire him. I'm a little sad I can't hire him to give me a happy birthday.
I swear to God, man. Oh, Cornette, they covered that shit that he was doing back when he was doing it on Cornette's show, and Cornette just about died. He said, "Yeah, that's New Jack, all right."
Dude, the dude's crazy. Like, if you guys haven't seen it, check out Dark Side of the Ring. There's a New Jack episode. It is must see friggin' television. That blew my mind. Some of the shit this guy did in the ring.
You know, my favorite New Jack quote is. And then Grimes said, "I can't feel my legs." And I said, "You don't need to feel your legs." Miles away.
Dude, he could have killed that guy. He tried to kill that guy.
He said, "I didn't push him hard enough because I was aiming for the floor."
Yeah.
If Grimes hit the floor, Grimes would be dead right now.
Johnny, did you see that fall? Do you know what we're talking about?
No, I haven't seen it. I love
oh my God. If it's the one that Mick Foley did at the Hell in the Cell, this is way riskier.
Yeah.
Like, it's the luck of fools this guy is not dead. Like, he tasers this dude and then he throws him off the scaffold and he misses the ring.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean,
I love all the...
It's insane.
I love all the gimmicks where they're in character doing the show stuff, and then he's like show wrestler, and then he's got hip hop as well, where they're always talking smack and talking shit about people. But it's like he's got these knives. I'm like, he might fucking stab you. I don't want to mess with him.
He did stab a guy in the ring.
Exactly.
Like, he did. Yeah, more than once.
Those cameos are troubling. They're not. It's not just character. It's like it's just so big. Like, I'll fucking stab.
Well, I think I showed the mass transit incident on here.
Yeah, dude. I like the way Cornette puts it though, because Cornette's like, "Look, this is wrestling. So like, you get together backstage, you come up with some kind of agreement, and if what happens in the ropes is kind of like what the agreement was, well, then I guess
New Jack got off on that because the stupid kid asked him to do it.
He did.
New Jack said he asked me to do it, so I did it. The fact he cut him all the way down the bone, all the way across the top of his forehead, that was not the point.
The other part of it was he felt disrespected because the kid walked in and he tried to call some of the match against. He's a rook and that's a veteran, and that's a wrestling no. The rook doesn't get to call the match. The veteran you don't even ask.
Well, he was acting a fool backstage anyway.
Yeah. I've got a real question for you guys, and I'm only familiar with him from I played like ECW video games years ago and didn't really get to see the shows, but I was familiar with the characters and personas, and I've read quite a few wrestling biographies and that. Do you think like New Jack, like he plays up the persona and the character? Do you think he's genuinely mentally ill and uses wrestling as an excuse?
Yeah,
because there's definitely a few characters like that in wrestling.
Yes,
he was a complete sociopath.
Yes. I think when you see his Smoky Mountain stuff, that's about as tame as he gets. And even then, that was very edgy and cutting edge. I think they did a promo like on the OJ.
It's like the wrestling Kanye.
Well,
like
when he was in Smoky Mountain, when he was in Smoky Mountain, Cornette told him, "This is what I want you to do. I want you to go out there and piss off all the white people." And you just like, okay, I can do that.
And he did.
Not only did he piss off the white people, he pissed off the white people and the black people. He got the NAACP was on their ass so damn bad they had to put like disclaimers up.
Yeah. But then when he gets to ECW, it's almost the perfect environment for someone like him, because now the
extreme
restraints are a little off, and he really fell into that hardcore, like crazy.
When the gangsters got to ECW, that's when they really went balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Who was that guy that was with him? What was his name? Mustafa, yeah. Mustafa ain't got no sense either. None whatsoever. None.
No. Well, it was funny. Like New Jack would do the promo, and you just see Mustafa just fucking.
He could cut a promo. Mustafa just couldn't cut a promo. All he could do is sit back there in the back and mug. Now, watching him mug is just as fun as watching New Jack sit there and talk his shit.
Well, he had that wide-eyed, like, where you believed he was nuts.
Well, the lights were on, but there wasn't nobody at home.
Well, it's funny. I've seen an interview with D'Lo Brown. I don't know if you guys know who D'Lo Brown is. He had a stint in the WWF for a while, or WWE, whatever you want to call it. But D'Lo worked with them in Smoky Mountain with the gangsters and all that. And he said that's kind of like how Mustafa really was. Like, even when the cameras weren't rolling, he said that dude was just freaking out there.
Well, New Jack said the same thing in a shoot interview he did one time.
But yeah, I was a big fan. Mostly because it was kind of like one of those, like, I can't believe I just saw that. I can't believe I just heard that. Are you freaking kidding me? But yeah, Johnny, if you ever get the chance, Dark Side of the Ring, New Jack episode, very worth your time. In fact,
I'll look it up. I've watched a few episodes of that, and for some reason they keep getting like they're up on YouTube and then they're pulled, and there's weird edits and shit on it.
It's hard to find a good cut.
Doing that shit.
So in America, Dark Side, is it on like a cable channel or something?
It's on the Vice channel, but you can get them on Hulu.
Yeah. Right, okay. Because there's somebody on YouTube who uploads a lot of them, but they crop and zoom the image in where it gives me a fucking headache. And I guess they do it to avoid copyright claims. It gave me a goddamn headache, like literal headache watching it, and I was really enjoying it. I had to turn it off and just listen to the sound and ignore the picture.
If I can find an episode of the New Jack one that's a good cut, I'll send you the link.
Yeah, sure. I'll look it up during the week. Any
promo that he does is good too, because he sits there and mugs and clowns and those two. God, he was playing himself basically.
Yeah. But you know what though? He was really good at promoting himself and being the character that he was portraying, and he lived the gimmick and all that. And it's actually kind of a shame he never got to WWE and all that. I know there was they were looking at him for a little bit, but of course Vince McMahon probably considered him way too risky. Which
they couldn't have used him in the PG era at all.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Do you think he could have? Do you think he could have worked in the Attitude Area if somebody reined him in, like, just go out there, be crazy, but don't fucking murder in the ring because we've got insurance.
He'd have to be reined in a lot, and he's just not.
He needs someone to stop him, like, murdering someone in the ring, but still be out there and actually detaining.
Well, the thing is that the Vic Grimes thing happened in the ECW, and that was about it. You can't rein somebody like that in when they decide to go off like that. I mean, you can't rein that in.
Well, Cornette had a relationship with him, and if Cornette would have remained in the Attitude Era, which he didn't, Cornette would have been the only one that probably could have got him pulled in a little.
You need someone who can speak crazy to make sense of it.
Right, exactly.
He and Cornette were buddies, friends. You ought to see that interview with Cornette.
I've worked different jobs. I've worked in aged care, disability care. I've worked in forklift shit. I've worked in a factory job. I used to work alongside a guy who was schizophrenic. If he was in the wrong mood, he was just the worst person in the world to be around. But most of the time, he was the best goddamn worker in the place.
Right.
Have you seen that?
And I considered him a friend when I was there. He was a good guy.
I kind of fall under that too.
Have you seen that shoot interview with Sandman? You know, Sandman and you Jack were friends. Sandman and you Jack were friends. Have you seen that shoot interview with Sandman?
Yeah, I've seen a few.
They would go out to the projects to score dope and shit like that. And one time they were in the car, and you Jack said, "Wait a minute, don't drive off, man. I'm gonna see where this guy goes." And we watched where he went. Then he opened up the bag and said, "Yeah, this ain't real. This ain't real coke." And he went and busted the dude's door in and went in and whooped his ass.
Yeah, those guys are crazy, you know.
And then there's that interview with Francine where she talks about the time that Sandman and you Jack got into it. Sandman was over there making racist jokes, and you Jack's over there going, "Say it again." So Sandman said it again. Say it. He kept doing this. Say it again. So Sandman will say it again. Say it again. And they did this about 5 fucking times, and then finally they were right up on each other, and then they started beating each other's ass. And I think it was Lance Storm had to go in there and get in front of Francine to keep her from trying to run in there and take them apart. And he said, "No, let them fight."
Right. I heard an old story from the old Mid-South territory with Bill Watts, and Bill Watts had a funny way of handling if his wrestlers would fight each other backstage. He'd wait till the next television taping, and then he'd make them do it again in front of all the boys. Get it out.
Mike, he says Sandman probably got his ass beat. I don't know if Sandman got his ass beat or whether you Jack. I'm pretty sure they just beat each other's ass because they're both bad asses, and neither one of them back down from shit. Now, this
Sandman let a screw loose for sure.
Yeah, this was reality. This wasn't wrestling. So they were fighting for real. And then afterwards, they went out and had a drink together and were still buddies.
Yeah,
they didn't give a shit, you know.
Well, they were drug buddies, so water under the bridge real quick. Let's go get more dope, you know.
Something weird happened across the street from Sue Studio. She'll have to tell us about that later. All right, now I'm gonna bring Mike in.
That's a weird live report.
She-Ra toys. He recently scored some new She-Ra toys. These, from what he was telling me, he collected them back in the day, and he's trying to get what he had when he was a kid.
I'm hanging out here about
this. The man.
What's up?
What's going on, man? We want to see those She-Ra toys. I'm gonna bring you up where we can see you better and let you show off them She-Ra toys while we sit here and heckle you.
Let's say.
Oh, that's cool. Is that a classics?
Yeah, that's the classics.
I don't know what that came from.
Yeah, it looks like a classics to me.
It's like a 12-inch.
Oh, it's 12. Yeah, that's like the blown up version of the classics.
Oh, that's like a Barbie doll size, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man.
I mean,
much better articulation. Double joints and everything. That's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. That's a beautiful figure.
Too bad Adam in here, boy. He'd be going nuts over all this.
Yeah. There's a vintage.
Yeah, vintage, yeah.
With the rooted hair.
She-Ra.
And then I put the
that's
Origins.
Yeah.
Origins, yeah.
I changed the head.
Oh, nice.
Well, that is a different head.
The original head looked too much like Ronda Rousey for my liking. It was real brown.
Well, this one's got where you could brush the hair.
Yeah. The rooted hair. The girls team made sure that all those She-Ra dolls had hair play.
Let's see if I can change this.
Well, that's what kind of fucked up mine
that
back
Crystal
there.
Castle.
Oh,
that's what I'm jealous of, man. I wish they would do a new version of that or reissue it.
Let's see if I can.
And it's pristine. Look at that. Look how fucking nice it is. Oh,
Wow,
Jesus.
You even got some of the bits in there.
Yeah, the bits and bobs are all there. Something fell out.
Some of them. That is cool.
It's not too bad.
It's good condition.
My sister had this when we were kids, and I remember stealing it from her room all the time.
I wish I had one so much. And like 2 years ago, when I give me the shit, but now I'm like, give me that fucking pink thing.
Grindhead Jim's putting together one. He's got everything he needs to complete it.
Yeah, he's got one. He's got it behind him in his shelfatorium. Oh, your cat's coming in. Let's go.
Oh, that's a beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
cameo.
And watch out. You know what cats do? They knock shit off.
Now, did they ever make a figure for Lookie?
Yes, I think
they did.
I want to say
they did one in classics. I don't know if they did one in the vintage line.
That's what I mean. The vintage line. Did they ever make a vintage Lookie?
Let's see.
Like it's definitely in classics because I have that Pixel Dan book and it's in that.
Yeah, I've seen him there. I couldn't remember if he was in vintage.
He's so goddamn annoying. Of all the sidekick Snarf and all those guys, and he's the single most annoying because that damn voice, man.
I have great memories of Lookie just because me and my sister always made a game of trying to find him, even though he was always
you followed
obvious.
The gimmick and actually look for the thing.
Because it was always so obvious in the cartoon wherever it was, but we always thought it, was fun.
I'm fond of this character design. It's just that goddamn high pitched voice that fries my brain because I've been watching the complete DVD set, and every episode when I'm watching it on a Friday night is that voice.
Was that Lou
you guys find me?
Lou Scheimer.
Lou Scheimer for that shit. Actually, Joneser, maybe not.
No.
No, it was classic.
I don't think they did. I don't know all the full tour line other than that Pixel Dan book.
It's amazing to me.
It's got every line.
It's amazing to me what ones they didn't do. Like they didn't do the little Twiggets, the little purple guys, or the witch.
I think I know why because they said in the production history of He-Man and She-Ra, which like I didn't get to own more than 2 toys as a kid, but I read a lot of behind the scenes shit for articles and writing. The Filmation and Lou Scheimer got to design 90% of everything went into She-Ra, and then they made toys about what they felt like. Whereas He-Man was like toy first, then the show, and they made some combo mashup stuff that didn't always match. Whereas they had really free reign in She-Ra to make it a very female Wonder Woman, girl power, Spice Girls kind of show and do what they wanted. So it makes sense they didn't make all those extra side characters because the line kind of tanked because it didn't quite, the guys didn't really want it, the girls wanted some of it, but it didn't quite, it was halfway in between.
Right.
I think
wasn't quite Barbie, wasn't quite
the guys team had kept it instead of the girls team coming in and co-opting it. It might have done a little better.
I think they should have done larger Barbie-sized dolls and done Motu-sized figures with all the versions of the key characters.
They didn't want She-Ra to be bigger than He-Man was the reason they didn't do that.
She kicks She-Man, fucking She-Man. He-Man, she kicks He-Man's up. We look at all their powers. She's more like Wonder Woman and Superman combined. She's got so many fucking powers. She talks to animals, transforms a sword into shit.
Sword to lasso.
Yeah, but she's awesome. And then she's got I love that flying horse. I want the one from the classics so much, but it's like 500 secondhand in the classics. And I've still been thinking about it. If I can pay it off, if I can find one and pay it off, I want it to go because it goes with the Masterverse. She-Ra fits on it better than the classic version does.
I'll tell you what, guys. Listen, you're talking about that damn horse. Who wants them? I want them to tool that fucking horse up for Origins because not only can you make She-Ra's horse out of that, but you can have Teela's horse. I want that fucking Charger.
Yeah. Right. I've actually also done like I've got several Origins battle cats. I've got about 3 or 4 because they're always on sale and cheap. I got my display one. I got one to send to a friend in New Zealand because when we were 13 years old, don't repeat this anywhere else because this is 100% serious.
Oh, nobody will ever see this again, right?
Nobody else. I'm not fucking around, but this is like I might get demonetized for this. I don't have a monetized YouTube, but this is 100% serious, and people might hate me after this. One day when we were bored, when we were 14 years old in high school, me and my best mate set fire to his Battle Cat toy because we were like, fuck Battle Cats. Because we're like 14, we're over toys, man. We're too cool for school. We don't need toys. I mean, we're buying comics and Batman versus Predator, shit like that. We're real bored. He was sick. I used to go to his house every morning before school. I'd walk like half an hour to his house and then we'd walk from there. And I went, fuck it, I'm not going to school. I'm just going to hang out with my mate all day at his house because he's home. We took his Battle Cat, put it in the garage, just for a joke, and we're bored and just fucking around. We took a lighter, set fire to his tooth, and the tooth just went for about a minute or two. And we're just talking and bored and fucking around. And then we're like, it's still burning. I thought it would go out. I think like there's black smoke coming up, like comes up from plastic. I thought we had it on a piece of board. I thought we better move it out to the yard because it's. We moved it out to the yard, and within 2 minutes, it was a flaming inferno. It was like
that's insane.
Yeah, and then it went all the way down to a puddle of green plastic. And we just burned it, and we just stood there watching it for entertainment, and like, because we're 14 and stupid, and thought we're over toys, we don't care. Burned that fucking thing, and years later, I felt genuinely bad about it. It's probably why I've bought several of the Origins ones, and one is I have in a big box sitting in my room out there. I've got a pile of wrestlers and stuff, and I've got an Origins Battle Cat and a He-Man. I'm going to send to him, but it's kind of a replacement for that one we burned as kids.
He-Man bonfire.
I want to show you guys something that I picked up in West Virginia. Well, actually, it was in Tennessee. We were on the way home when I found this. We stopped at this gas station to go take a piss break, and they had a bunch of little gifts and shit. You know, that kitschy stuff that you see. You know, sometimes in the souvenirs and shit like that. Now. Okay. All right, you guys know about my little buddy right here, X-Ray Boy.
Yeah.
Do you know where he's from, Jones? Or
you showed me before. It was some I don't know if it was a magazine or a toy or what it was, a robot toy or
it was an Ideals toy ad for a robot, and they had this kid on there playing with it, and he had those fucking goggles on. Well, I was going through the toys at that gift shop, and look at the picture here.
Oh, looks like you found them.
Yeah, it's not the actual robot. This is a bank, and it's made out of metal, but little bobblehead
X-Ray Boy on there.
But it's cool as shit, man. Couldn't help but to pick that up along with the other toys. We're going to show those off tomorrow. Are you going to be able to make it tomorrow, Jones? Or?
I don't know. I've got the kids coming over and in-laws, and so we'll have to see. You'll have to put me down as a solid maybe.
I got you. Well,
you can chuck me down as a maybe if you send me what time it is, because it's a weird.
Yeah, I was gonna say when I was thinking of doing the Sunday show, I was like, which one would be easier for Johnny? As I always think you're like,
I don't give a shit because I don't sleep a lot of the time. I get up weird fucking. I've been getting up for like 15 years at like 3-4 in the morning anyway, so I don't care.
Are you like 11 or 13 hours flipped from us?
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much.
He's a day
anything
ahead of us.
from 10 to 12 hours. But I sleep in like 4 to 5 hour blocks, and I get up and I feed the cat, and then I lie listening to podcasts until I got to get up and go to work and shit like that.
So does this put you a day ahead of us or a day behind us?
We're about 12 hours ahead of you, and New Zealand is a full day ahead of you because I grew up in New Zealand, but now I live in Perth, Australia.
Gotcha. So you're a little ahead of us.
Yeah, we're about 12, 13 hours ahead.
He's in the future.
Right.
I'm in the. I know. I love being in the future, man. So except I used to be all the way in the future in New Zealand, and the only way you can get fully Emmett Brown in the future is to go down to Antarctica to get more in the future.
Right.
You got to go down there to Eternia.
Yeah, well, all the penguins are hanging out with their rocket packs and that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yes. So did you guys catch the lunatic asylum video that I did?
I did. I actually watched that whole thing.
I thought it was pretty good.
All right, let's start with you, Jonger. What were your thoughts about that damn play?
Honestly, because of you, me and my kids started watching Ghost Adventures, so thank you for that.
You're welcome. Oh, by the way, I got my shirt on today.
Oh, there you go. Nuts.
You went nuts. Well, you were born nuts. So how the fuck does that make sense?
Well, I don't know. I was
born that way. Yam's what a yam.
When I was researching the transorbital lobotomies, that jackass Freeman that did that shit.
Yeah.
There was a 12-year-old boy, and that was his picture. That young boy that you saw with the fucking 2 black eyes, like a raccoon.
Fucked up.
Right? That guy lived through that shit, and he's still alive to this very day. And he wrote a book called My Lobotomy.
Oh Jesus!
And let me tell you how they operate. And this was in the late '60s when this happened. This was right around the time. Right before they finally banned this asshole.
Dude, they did those all the way into the 80s in some places.
Yeah.
They
Yeah, we
banned
covered the brief history
the
of like
transorbital
mental
lobotomies and
fuckery and studies.
told Freeman to quit doing that shit. But look, this is what happened to this poor
Absolute
kid. Okay,
quackery.
I'm thinking to myself how close I could have been to being this motherfucker. All right, so his mom died when he was a little kid, so his dad remarried, and the bitch he remarried didn't like him, and he was hard to deal with. He liked to steal candy. Who's never done that? He was a little defiant. Who wasn't that? So she took him to Walter Freeman, to the psychiatrist, and after like one, maybe 2 sessions, Walter decided that he was schizophrenic, so he scheduled him for a lobotomy. This bitch wrote him off on that. Yeah, go ahead, give him a lobotomy, and he did it right there in his fucking office.
Yeah, it's a sick world out there. Sick people.
Yeah, here's
and this was supposed to be a caregiver. This was supposed to be somebody trying to help people.
Yeah.
Look. He was the one who fucked Rose Kennedy up. It was Walter Freeman. He did a transorbital lobotomy on JFK's sister.
Jesus.
And that's what did him in, I think, because JFK's dad was like super duper rich, and he screwed her up for the rest of her life. She was a vegetable the rest of her life after he did her in.
Oh, fucking hell.
Why did his dad not step in? Because his dad was cowed down by this woman. She told him if he didn't let her do this, that she would divorce. I would have told that bitch to take a hike.
Yep. I'll tell you what, dude. And this is one thing where I love my wife and my wife loves me, but we've told each other from the day one, like, there is some people in this world I would choose over you, and that's the kids. And I was like, I wouldn't have it any other way. Of course she should choose her son over me. Of course I should choose my boys over her. Luckily, we all love each other and it all works out. But yeah, that is not okay. You know, to abandon your kids for whatever little suck ass you think you got.
But yeah, the West Virginia lobotomy project was something that happened back in the 50s. And they did over 750 lobotomies in the state of Virginia, West Virginia alone. 75 of them were done right there at the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. And this Walter Freeman oversaw them, and he was a showman. He wanted the room filled with people and cameras while he would do this shit, so he could show off. And sometimes he would take 2 orbital class and do them both at the same time.
Yeah,
one time he paused for a photograph and shoved the orbital class in too far and killed the son bitch he was working on.
As I was just going to say, I've seen on your thing that like 14% of the people that did this procedure or was done to them did not survive.
Well, here's the thing. We really don't know how many successes and failures he had, because when he was documenting things, he only documented his successes.
Correct. That's what most people do.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in those days, I'm sure record keeping wasn't exactly a strong suit.
Well, there was no oversight.
Right.
Hello, George. Good to see you, sir. She must have had his balls in a jar. She had them in something. Her hand.
Well,
they were well placed.
Yeah,
but yeah. That whole institution was probably the creepiest thing that I've ever had the pleasure of walking through. And the only close thing that I got to an actual paranormal experience, there were a lot of things that would happen in there that they told you that, you know, this could happen while I was in there. One of them was phantom smells. Now we went down through where they did the art therapy, where they would draw pictures and stuff like that. You were supposed to smell crayons and paint down there. I didn't. But when we got up there to the top floor, to the alcoholics ward, that was where the two guys killed the other guy with a bed frame. I felt like everything was closing in on me when I went in through that damn ward. It was just a stuffy feeling up there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, understand this is a Kirkbride that I was in. If you don't know what a Kirkbride is, back in the 1800s up through the early 1900s, Thomas Story Kirkbride had created this idea that light and sunlight and fresh air would be therapeutic to insane people. So when he designed these institutions so that each of the wings would kind of fold out like this in a bat fashion, so that they got all the sunlight coming in and all the fresh air that these lunatics would need. So it wasn't dark in there by any means, and the airflow in there was great. But when we got up there to the alcoholics ward, everything just closed in, and it was stuffy up there, and it shouldn't have been, because when we left out of there, we left out of there and went to the wing right adjacent to it. It didn't feel like that in the women's ward at all. So, is there something to it? I don't know.
I've been to a couple of these quote unquote haunted places in my time. I most famously probably I've been through Alcatraz. I did the tour there. If you've ever heard of the Whaley House in San Diego, downtown San Diego, in the Gas Lamp District, it's historic downtown San Diego. The Whaley House is a very famous haunted place. Hearst Castle was William Randolph Hearst home was creepy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm into this stuff. I did a ghost tour in New Orleans as well, and I would really love to see Gettysburg at some point, Tombstone, Arizona. I've got some wish lists. My wife's not really into the ghost hunting thing or the creepy places. My kids are, so we'll have to see if we'll get a family compromise on a vacation once.
Yeah. George wants to know, did they have an iron lung in there? Well, the thing was, I went on 2 tours. There were several tours that you could go on, and they got rather expensive. But the first tour that we went on was the paranormal tour. I went there. I promised everybody ghosts, and I was going to hunt ghosts. So that's what I did, the paranormal tour. That was where we went to the most haunted places that were in the asylum. The second tour we went on was we went back there to the back where the criminally insane building was, which was kind of, that was fucked up over there too, especially when you saw the conditions they were in. Look, they put the criminally insane in one big fucking room together and just let them do whatever the fuck they wanted to in there. And
Whatever happened.
Get this. There were no security guards. There were just people working there. And if the crazy folks got into it, they called the cops, and the cops had to come. But we didn't go into the medical wing. The medical wing was on a different tour, and we didn't go over there and do that. We had a limited.
That's the horror of horrors, the medical wing.
Oh, I could only imagine what went on over there. Now, here's the thing. The lobotomies weren't performed over in the medical wing. The lobotomies were performed over there in the Kirkbride. They had a big ass fucking room, and they would line these son of a bitches in. And here comes Mr. Freeman with his orbital class, bap, 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 bap. And then he'd go to the next table, bap, 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 bap. And then he would go to the next table, bap, 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 bap. So yeah, when we went in that room, people got physically ill in that room. I did not. Some of the people on the tour got physically ill in that room. Now, I don't know if they got physically ill because the ghosts were making them ill, or whether they got physically ill just because the girl was talking about what went on in there. I don't know.
Now, Bill, did they have like a ward for like the criminally insane, or like the like a max security area, or where they
that was the second tour. That was the second tour we went on. Now here's the thing: before they built that building out back for them, they housed them inside the Kirkbride with the rest of the insane people, and sometimes mixed them together.
Well, the reason I ask is because, like, when I went through Alcatraz, I didn't see any ghostly things, but the one thing that I do remember is just the feeling of like
a psychic residue.
There were a lot of sick minds in this area. Like,
leaves like an imprint on the place.
Yes,
that's what I felt in the jails and that island jails from World War II that we in high school we went out and saw them.
Yeah, no, it's exactly like what you're saying. Like, it just felt like there's just evil minds that were all in this room together, you know, and yeah, it was just a creepy feeling. And then walking through a big giant prison with a bunch of empty cells was just weird. You know, it's almost like you could hear the rumblings of what it should sound like, even though there was no noise. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but creepy place.
OBS says, who's really crazy ones? Well, you know, they always say that there's a fine line between sanity and insanity, especially when it comes to psychiatrists.
Well, do you all remember the original Halloween movie? I thought that doctor was just as nuts as Michael Myers. You know?
Well, I mean, you know, that perfectly gives you a good example. I mean, that was right out of something that could have happened right there at that damn mental institution.
Mm-hmm. I watched him looking at the door, looking past the door, looking at this guy. You know, I mean, yeah, I was a kid. I used to wonder, like, man, that guy's just as kooky as Michael Myers.
Yeah, that's steering into the dark abysses like psychiatrist.
When there was one floor, I can't remember which one it was, but it was called the unclean and unwashed ward. Okay, every one of the rooms had it was just like it was back then. Nothing was in there. It was a bare fucking room with a drain hole in the floor. This was the ward in which they kept the people that were so insane they couldn't even wipe their own ass or go shit or anything like that. They just shit wherever they wanted to, just wandered around playing with their own voodoo and shit like that. These were the motherfuckers that were fucking way out of their head. They just existed. Yeah, Donald Pleasance did Dr. Loomis. Dr. Loomis was probably based on a real psychiatrist.
I just popped this up a second ago. It's funny.
Oh, and speaking of which, my daughter should be here tomorrow. We're going to watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, there you go.
That's a good film. Yeah, Chief breaks everything. Yep.
And the way that ward is set up in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is exactly the way they set them up back in those days.
Yeah, it's pretty. I love that film. Love Jack Nicholson and the whole style and feeling of it's very authentic.
You know, Nurse Ratched is one of the 10 most villainous characters.
Yep. Also, the inspiration for Transformers. That's where they got the name Ratchet and being a medic.
Yeah, Nurse Ratched. Medication.
And the original version of Ratchet and Transformers was actually the very first female Transformers character, but they changed it. But it's still in the French comics for the media at the time.
Oh wow! I didn't know that.
Your medication orally.
That's pretty obscure.
Yeah, I did not know that. That's cool.
It's real obscure. It's only a Europe thing. You know, there's like Europe Motu law and shit like that.
Yeah, I know.
It's like the Transformers. Law.
Yeah, like the anti-Eternia bit that we missed it over here.
Exactly.
Yeah, it stuck pretty close to the book. I've read the book and I've seen the movie. The book called her the Big Nurse. Yeah. If Mr. McMurphy doesn't want to take his medicine orally, we can sure take it another way, but you won't like it. Let's see. George says, if you want a creepy place, go to Shiloh.
Yeah, a lot of people died there. That was a bloody battle. That was a Civil War battle.
As a matter of fact, Studio, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was filmed in the Oregon Mental Institution that the book was set in. So it was pretty good there.
I like Shutter Island. I kind of wanted to believe he was not crazy, but he was crazy. I was annoyed. I wanted him to be like, yeah, fight the power.
You know, the first time my wife and I watched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, my wife just loved Jack Nicholson's character in that, and she was just laughing along with some of the antics that he was pulling in there. And she bawled her eyes out when they brought him back in and he was lobotomized.
Yeah. It's like you take a sane man and then you fuck them.
Yeah, well, that was all Nurse Ratched. That was her final revenge. But too bad Murphy won in the end because he had broken her, basically.
The horrible thing is, like all those institutional years, and this is something like I did disability studies years ago before I went into that kind of work. We did quite a bit on the history of like mental asylums and shit like that. And like what's one man's crazy person is very subjective. If you go back to the history of humanity, we grew up from tribes and cultures, He-Man, loincloths and hunter-gatherers, and went into farmer settlers. It's very subjective, and most older tribal type cultures had a context for people being a bit nutty. There might have been the witch doctor. There might have been the guy that was out doing the medicine, other shit. They had a place in society. We didn't just lock them away and then fucking torture them and do horrible shit to them.
Johnny, go back and watch the video. There's a place in that video where it lists the reasons for, not the one that's on the back of this shirt that it's at the end towards the end of it. No, it's the one that's on the wall in there. If you freeze the video, you might be able to see that shit. If you don't, I will make a picture of it and put it on Instagram. Here's some of the shit that you could get put in a mental institution for, right there at Trans-Allegheny.
Yeah.
Masturbation.
Oh, Jesus. Homosexuality.
Novel reading.
What?
Having a baby and saying it's not your baby, but it's your baby, aka the movie Changeling, Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, I mean that's in there too. There's all kinds of shit in there that's just normal shit.
Just made up normal shit. Yeah, arbitrary bullshit fucking rules. We'll throw
you there. They could do.
We'll throw you in there because it's inconvenient.
Right. Well, one of the things that you could do in West Virginia was if you got tired of your wife, you could take her down to Trans-Allegheny and say she was crazy, and they would just put her in a mental institution. And
that was a real thing for women, just locking them up.
That was grounds for divorce as soon as she's crazy and she's institutionalized. Negated your marriage, and now
crazy.
Rid of her because when you got put in there, you were in there for life, Jack. They never let you out. It wasn't until the deinstitutionalization of America that these people were let loose. Back in the day when you got put in there, that was it. And if you died in there, they had a hill out back that they buried you in an unmarked grave in.
Oh, Jesus.
And that it was messed up. Now, what I'm getting at was I'm thinking of Arkham Asylum and Batman.
Yep. The book or the game or both.
Just the idea of Arkham Asylum. Yeah. Now, I have my book over here of Arkham Asylum that I go to all the time is Serious House on Serious Earth, which was a damn.
Do you know how he wrote that?
Go ahead.
Drug free. He stayed up all night and kept himself awake like 24 hours a day until his mind was getting real out there.
Wow.
Because he went through a period, Grant Morrison, where he went from like total straight edge, no drugs, to trying every kind of booze and drug available to humanity from age 20 to 30. Then he evened out again. But when he did Arkham Asylum, he did it completely drug free, and he stayed up all night until you're just like your mind is going into like your real Carl Jung subjective other stuff, unconscious mind stuff, like your archetypes all coming up. But it's really cool. He's got commentaries on some of the
that explains a lot. Well, that explains a lot.
He says he literally used matchsticks to hold his eyelids open at the computers.
Well, the artwork, if we're talking about the Arkham Asylum graphic novel or comic book, or whatever you want.
Called the Arkham Asylum, Serious House on Serious Earth.
The art on
I've got the poster from it.
That's like impressionistic.
Yeah, the art on that is just insane. It's out of this world. I mean, it's a very unique look, and you see a lot of that in like the early Sandman covers.
Yes. Well, the same artist. Also, I've looked at art in recent years of people who have actual mental illness. It's very similar to the style they used in the Arkham Asylum. It's very impressionistic, nightmarish. Things kind of bleed out at the edges. Nothing really has a hard border or edge. Everything kind of loops or folds into something else, and nothing ever begins or ends. It's all just this weird, uncontained nightmare.
Pop back to Rick's talking about what I was talking about earlier. The Kennedys sent Rose Kennedy to the mental institution because Rose was a maniac. I wasn't going to go that deeply into it, but since he brought it up. But yeah, well, what happened was Walter Freeman came along and lobotomized her and turned her into a drooling vegetable.
Oh, it's fucking horrible.
But anyway, I was thinking about Arkham Asylum. Now, if you look, you can see that there's lots of different floor plans for what Arkham Asylum is in the minds of the comic writers and everything. Yeah. And they all don't ring true to me. Now, we know what the lore is behind Arkham Asylum, that this was Jeremiah Arkham's family home that he converted into an asylum. Well, in my mind, the home is the administration building and the doctors and nurses' quarters. When they converted it, they built the wings in a Kirkbride fashion out beside the old home. Now, doesn't that make more sense?
Well, I think that's kind of how the video game works, except for in the video game, the mansion's in the corner and the place grows, and it's Arkham Island, but it does kind of follow that kind of deal where the place grew out of the home. Yeah,
they've expanded it quite a bit in the Batman.
Well, one of the things they came up with was that the whole floor plan of it is basically like some sort of a demonic symbol. If you look at it from the sky, have you heard that one before, John?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, but they did do a cool story in recent years called Arkham Asylum. I think it was called Hell on Earth, something like that. They brought back Deacon Blackfire from that story they did in the 80s.
Yeah, I remember that story. I didn't like it.
Yeah, they brought him back as a spirit, and he was trapped in Arkham, and people had summoned him like a demon, and he was taking over the asylum and just like fucking. It was quite a pretty cool story.
Well,
but it was similar to your visit to the asylum, where it's like, now it's asylum and spirits.
Asylum is just like the asylums used to be back in the old days. The fuckers are walking around free, and the some bitches doing whatever they want to.
Yeah. And it was meant to be like
the staff on the other side of the door, and they don't want to have shit to do with them or get in there with them because they know what'll happen if they do.
Like it was meant to be about rehabilitation, but really it's almost like a legacy following on from the Nazi experiments in World War II and horrible shit going on, and what did they learn in the science behind closed doors that now they're carrying out on people in the name of rehabilitation.
Well, did any of you play the video game?
I played it like 5-10 times. All of them.
I've played through it a bunch of times. It's one of my favorites. And
so good.
What really gets you in the video game, it's got that moody moments, but there's a great moment where like Batman's in the island. It's loosely based off that graphic novel, but just to catch Bill up here. Basically, the Joker gets free. He's running the asylum, and he's taking it over piece by piece, and Batman's trying to stop him while, of course, chaos is running rampant because it's Joker style. But there's a great moment where, we don't have all the massive crazies. They're still locked in their cells, so we're still good, right? It's not too bad yet.
Yep.
And then, of course, they're foreshadowing because you're going to get there. And when he finally goes into the main hospital, and they're all in there, and all of a sudden you get that where one of them like runs up into the glass, get me out of here, and as you're playing the game, you're like, whoa, and you, as you walk through the place as Batman, they're still in their cells and they're jumping around.
Yeah, you know what's going to happen. They have the whole foreboding of like you're walking in, strutting, and their power is going to shut down. It's typical 80s horror movie style. All that shit's going to break out the moment
he gets to the complete other side, and he's in there as deep as you get, and then of course, Joker hits the button or whatever, and all the cells open and everything.
I love that the style. I love that style. They did very well 70s, 80s horror style in that game, and I like the games that followed. They're great, but they're more video games. They're not as thematic and gothic and stylish.
Right.
And the other great thing they did.
the first two were as good as it gets, and then from there,
they were fantastic. But just it's more claustrophobic in the first one. The second one, you're in the big city, you can roam around. It's not as panic-inducing. And I loved how they did in the first one, the hallucinations with the scarecrow toxin.
Oh, that was genius.
You'd go through a door, come back down. It's the exact same corridor, and it starts melting away like David Fincher Fight Club style. It was brown and disgusting stuff and
quite honestly,
stuff, and then not into a nightmare.
They do the origin of Batman in one of those. I think the second hallucination.
Yeah, they did. He goes from being Batman in the suit to the kid in the alley.
The best version of his origin on film or on camera or what I've ever seen, because I think it's emotional. Like I was watching that and I was so emotionally invested. I'm almost like
trailers on YouTube that cut together the different bits of that are really good.
I think that's a beautiful scene, and they show Batman in his full glory, and then all of a sudden, as he's reliving it, he's like a child.
He's just this helpless child, getting smacked in the face.
And he's hearing all the people like, "Oh, he's gonna be fine. That guy's got $1 billion, it don't matter," and it's just like you couldn't just it's so well done. The movies never touched it that good. Nothing is ever.
I agree. Those cutscenes like really get into the heart and feeling of Bruce Wayne. Whereas like he's this damaged child, he's just going to go out and punch fuckers in the face night after night.
That's the other problem with those games is Batman supposedly lets everybody live, but he's like snapping legs, throwing guys.
You're unconscious a really long time.
I'm pretty sure
if you're unconscious for an hour after being punched, you're probably not gonna. You're gonna get some brain damage.
Pop actor Rick says in the 70s they would put all the insane people together in one room for weeks, all on LSD. I don't know about LSD. I've never heard of that, but I will tell you one story that I heard over at Trans Allegheny. Before the introduction of drugs, lobotomy was one way to shut them up. But have you ever heard the word bedlam?
I've heard the word. I'm not sure if I'm familiar with what it means.
Here's where it comes from. There was a hospital for the insane. Let's call it a lunatic asylum in England. It was one of the very first lunatic asylums that was ever created there in England back in the 1700s. It was called St. Bethany, and the word bedlam comes from the word Bethany. And bedlam became a term for what you would hear inside a mental institution, because that's what you heard: the screams and just the insanity of the lunatics inside the institution. Well, they're at that Western State Hospital, which is what the real name of the Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum became. At that Western State Hospital, it sounded like that up until 1972. And in 1972, in 48 hours, the institution became quiet. It was eerily quiet, because that was when they introduced a new drug called Thorazine. Yep. Turned them all into zombies. This was in Canada at Oak Ridge Mental Hospital. They put them on LSD in there. That brings up something. The writer of one who flew over the cuckoo's nest was Ken Kesey.
They still use smaller doses of LSD now.
Yeah. Real quick, guys, I'm going to take a commercial break so that everybody can take care of themselves real quick. So
I'm gonna get some of that horse business.
Yeah, here we go. Let's take a quick commercial break, guys.
You worked too hard, you ate too much, the cheesecake made you greedy. Let your aching head and stomach hear this message from old Speedy. Alka-Seltzer, plop, plop, fizz, fizz, oh, what a relief it is. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz, oh, what a relief it is. Those Speedy bubbles relieve your upset stomach and headache fast. For acid indigestion alone, Alka-Seltzer Gold. Oh, what a relief it is. What a relief.
Time to make the donuts. Dunkin' Donuts are always fresh. I made the donuts. We make them at least twice every day. Time to make the donuts. Not a few kinds, like supermarket. Made the donuts. Time to make the donuts. But up to 52 varieties. The donuts. Time to make the donuts. I made the donuts. All this work is tougher on us, but better for you.
Holy one-liner, Batman!
It's not a laughing matter, Robin. Drop your punchline, Joker! Listen, folks, only at Zellers are you protected by...
the law of Toyland. Nobody beats Zellers' prices on toys. Nobody.
Well said, Robin. You're protected at Zellers because the lowest price is the law.
Boy, am I hungry. What kind of soup is that?
Make way for the Great American Soup.
Can you give me that again?
Up at the Ritz, they passed the word to 42nd Street. Make way for the Great American Soup. Hey, mister, have you tried the soup that's good enough to eat? Shake hands with the Great American Soup. Feel that rhythm, guide your feet on the soupy road to romance. Let's face the chicken gumbo and dance. Who's got its noodles up in lights from Broadway to the Loop? It's the Great. I said the Great. It's the great, great, great American Soup.
Emily, why do you always have to make such a big production out of everything?
Child world, let's take a look and see.
I'm Peter Panda.
Child world, everything a toy store should be.
Know why I skate through Child World? Because there's so much to see. What a selection. Looking for fun gifts for children? I mean children of all ages? You'll find what you're looking for at Child World. And it's so nice to know that prices are low and shopping is friendly and fun.
Child world, everything a toy store should be.
Hi, I'm Woodsy Owl. In order to try and stop pollution, we need more help. So, help Woodsy spread the word. Come on, never be a dirty bird. No matter where you go, you can let some people know to give a hoot, don't pollute. Never be a dirty bird. In the city or in the woods, help keep America looking good.
WMC-TV Channel 5, Memphis.
Well, everybody's still in the can, but I'm back. That Child World video, to me, every time I see that panda skating around in there, I think these big old furry inside the damn store running around. Are you familiar with the house on Haunted Hill there, Joneser? Because Mikey's wanting to know, did they have the same concept of the with the insane asylum in that movie?
I've seen the original old black and white one, and I've also seen the remake. I think it was in the early 2000s or the late 90s. I think I just like the classic one better with Vincent Price, just because I do. Yeah, I'm not really sure about the origins of the House on Haunted Hill or whatnot, and the TV show about the Alcatraz prison. Yeah, it's been featured a lot of times. Unsolved Mysteries did the thing about the guys that escaped, or maybe they escaped.
We all wish they made it, but I don't think they really did.
That's quite the swim.
Yeah,
that's in cold water.
Yeah, and Vincent Price was creepy in just about everything he was in, even the commercials that he did. I'm going to put some of those up sometime.
Yeah, that's good stuff. You know,
give a hoot, don't pollute. Yeah. Here's a funny one about the Woodsy Owl commercials. I don't know if you guys remember those, but I remember them very distinctly. Whenever they would start that, Anthony, my brother, not you, but my brother Anthony, would sit over there and go, "In the city or in the woods." Yeah, Exorcist. Yeah, that was That was pretty wild. It had Patrick Troughton in it, by the way. He was the little priest that got killed.
I don't think I've seen the second or third one. I think I've seen the first one, and that was it. I also saw the Repossessed, which was with Leslie Nielsen. It was a spoof version. You remember that?
I'll have to see that. I have not.
Oh, it's good. Yeah, you gotta watch Repossessed. It's a like kind of a spoof version of The Exorcist. It is freaking great.
Yeah, but before we all went on break here, I was talking about Ken Kesey. Ken Kesey was the one who wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. If you don't know who he is, that's the LSD man, the Merry Pranksters and all that shit back in the 60s. When he wrote that book, he had worked in a mental institution. And he wrote the book based upon his experiences there. And even Nurse Ratched was based upon a nurse that he had been in contact with at that time. Now, also, Ken Kesey was involved with Project MK Ultra. Are you guys familiar with Project MK Ultra?
Mm-mm.
It's CIA, once again, operating on American soil where they're not supposed to operate. They went into the mental institutions and gave people LSD because they were going to use LSD as a truth serum to get the truth out of people.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I brought that up was because of something George said earlier about the patients on LSD. They thought that they could make the pedophiles and the rapists and all those people tell the truth if they gave them LSD. I don't know how true that is, but yeah, about the truth coming out under LSD. But yeah, the CIA is dirty as fuck. They absolutely are. And Pop Actor Rick said that Exorcist 3 is his favorite. The third is his favorite movie. So, and OBS agrees. I have not seen sequels to Exorcist. I've only seen the original one, which was loosely based on a true story. It wasn't a girl; it was actually a little boy. But yeah.
I think in the spoof one I'm talking about, the Repossessed, the little girl that was in the Exorcist movie, she returns as an adult in the spoof because she's repossessed.
All right. Does she?
Of course.
Does she puke that split pea soup on people?
Yes, and I'm telling you, Leslie Nielsen plays the preacher. You know, so you already know what you're getting here.
Yeah. In Canada, that LSD experiment failed with the patients. Imagine that. And some sued the hospital many decades later. Yeah. The idea of all of this is just horrifying to me. That something that started out to be a place of refuge for the mentally insane turned into a nightmare.
Mm-hmm. Here I come assault.
Yeah.
Heard that term before. Interesting to note. I'm quoting you there, Johnny. That in 2000.
I was just looking it up again right then for the film.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just amazing to me. It's history. If you ever get a chance to visit one of these Kirkbride institutions that's still around, do. Because not many of them still are there. They're most of them have been demolished, but there are still a few around. And that one there in West Virginia is probably the best example of a mental institution straight out of your imagination that I've ever been in.
Now, Bill, would you spend the night there?
You know what? I thought about that. I don't have the $100 to do that. But
they'll let you.
I would.
Yes, they will let you.
They'll let you for $100.
You have to pay.
Yeah, you got to pay.
What do they use it for? They're restoring the building, or
look. Here's the deal. There's two excursions that you can go on. The first one is with everybody else. The second one, you pay $125 plus you got to sign a $250 insurance policy. The second one is for ghost.
Case they go crazy.
It's for the professional ghost hunter. Okay,
Right.
it's for these guys that got these damn YouTube channels and TV shows.
He's got an EMF reader and a freaking spirit.
You take your ghost hunting equipment
pack.
in there. Look, you take your ghost hunting equipment in there and they turn you loose. They lock you in and they turn you loose, and you stay there for 8 freaking hours.
That's not gonna bother me.
The $100 tour is the one that you and I can take. Once again, they lock you in, but you're there with other people. You're not there by yourself. But they do turn you loose. You can wander around wherever you want to in that place for the whole
I
night.
didn't realize it was an option. I thought it was something, where
no, it is an option.
I suppose
It's not just an option, but an industry.
Right.
Now, also in they used to do this during the operation of the hour for time of year from April. They operate it from April to November because it gets goddamn cold up there in the wintertime, and the snow gets so deep up there that you can't do it in the wintertime. But in October, that's when they do it now. They just do it in the month of October. They do the nighttime flashlight paranormal tours.
See, now you got me intrigued.
Would you do it, Mike? Would you stay the night there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't think I would be hesitant to do that, but I think they'd have to pay me to do it, not me pay them.
Well,
you know,
but the money issue fucks with my head. I'm like, I'd stay there if I have my own space. I don't want to stay with a bunch of people I don't know because they're going to bother me.
I like stuff like that,
A pop actor says they mixed all sorts of patients. Some were there for depression, and others were put with killers in the same room, all on LSD. Well, I will tell you this: before they built the criminally insane building out behind the Kirkbride, they kept the criminally insane in the same building with normal crazy people, and sometimes they even kept them on the same ward.
Yeah.
That's pretty dangerous. Like when my mother was 20 years old, she used to work in a psych ward and she'd nearly been killed a bunch of times.
Well, here's the thing. There was his name has been called Charlie and also Dean. But there was Dean is the one that you can actually match a record up to. And this happened, they said it happened in 1987, as early as that. This is when this happened. There were on a ward, I think it was the Alcoholics Ward, if I'm not mistaken, is where this happened. All right, Dean.
So we'd all be in there.
Yeah, Dean was childlike. Now he was a great big hulking fellow, and he liked to play pranks on the other inmates, and he but he was beloved. But there were two sociopathic people that were in there. And they didn't like Dean, and he got on their bad side.
Oh, shit.
And what they did was they tortured him. They beat his ass. Then they tied a bed sheet around his neck and threw it over some pipes in the ceiling.
Oh, man.
And they would hoist him up in the air until he passed out. And then they would lower him back down until he regained consciousness.
Torturing him.
They did this over and over and over again. Then they decided they were going to go on and kill him. Well, they couldn't get him to die from hanging him. So they took him and they drug him over to an iron bed that was not bolted to the floor, folks. And they put the bed frame over his head, and then one of them jumped on the top of the bed frame repeatedly until they crushed his skull.
Now, here's my thing. They can do all this.
Couldn't they have just cut his throat and got it over with? Like that's
I guess they didn't have any implements to do that.
Oh, yeah.
They can do all this, and nobody's like security walking by checking on them, or a doctor like, "Oh, hey, what's going on in this room?" Oh, never mind.
There was one nurse's station with one nurse at night.
Yeah, forget it.
And the nurse's station was behind the thick glass, and she was in there by herself all night long.
I suppose they're making a bunch of ruckus, and it's the big scary one, and she ain't going in there.
No. Now over on the juvenile ward, now these were like 14 to 15-year-old kids. These are the ones that scratched with their fingernails those big gouges that you saw in the stone windowsill.
Yeah, I've seen that.
All right, this is what happened over there. There was an inmate over there and they didn't like his ass because he picked on everybody. He was a great big old 15-year-old, I guess, who was bigger than all the rest of them. Well, there was one of them that he picked on one time too many, and he was a little guy. So he took his toothbrush and broke the end of it off and sat there and I don't know how long it took him to do this, but he filed it on the floor at night until he made a shiv out of it. And he waited for this ass to go to the bathroom, and he went in there and stabbed him 17 times in the stomach. And I mean, basically just ripped him all open. You know how the shivs work.
Yeah.
So he's bleeding. He's bleeding internally. Stomach wounds will kill you, but they don't kill you immediately.
No, you get to suffer a while first.
Yeah. Dean, I don't know what this guy's name was, Charlie or something like that. Anyway, he drug himself out of the bathroom and drug himself down the hallway. Now, the nurses didn't go out there because they were scared of him. They thought he was going to attack them, that he was trying to lure them to come in there with him. So he dragged himself out in the hallway and laid there in a pool of blood for like 6 hours before anybody went in there and saw to him. By the time they went in there, he was dead. And he liked to smoke cigarettes. And I don't know if you saw it, but on top of the urinal there in the bathroom, there was a pile of cigarettes. I even left one myself. You leave cigarettes in there to appease his spirit.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's see. Patients at Oak Ridge were also given angel dust pills along with the LSD. Everyone went crazy. I'm sure that sounds like a crazy place. Pop actor Rick is in the process of researching a future project of his. So it has to do with mental institutions. So he was glad that we talked about this because it's going to help him in his future endeavor there. Okay. I don't know how to go beyond this. Is there any way to get out of this, Jones, or we've got to get out of this?
Get out of this insane asylum talk?
Yes.
Where do you want to go?
Let's wrap
it
up.
Fucking masterverse.
There's a beast bird.
I did a Joneser. I bought a second one because on sales I know both versions.
Now looking at those packages, you know, I got this bad boy right here because my wife, my wife let me.
There he is.
Video that I released yesterday, but
I love that shiny sticker they put on there.
That's my favorite Masterverse toy. Is that classic looking He-Man.
Mm-hmm. Now look, I was
stuff we love from when we were kids.
I was over there on Ozzy's show earlier tonight, right before this show, and they had Cobweb collectibles on there. And this guy showed me his 40th anniversary He-Man and what he and his son had done. They had fixed it so that it looked like He-Man was bursting out of the package. And even
I seen that.
Yeah, it was all.
I seen that.
I'm going to have to do something like that.
So got here.
Oh, look at Round Man.
Yeah, I got him on order. He looks great.
I think this guy I might open up 2002 look. Yeah, he's pretty cool. That one I'm excited about, and this one.
I know it.
Yeah, I got him on order too. He looks awesome.
Very excited about those two.
I like that they're nice and beefy and wrestler size like they should be.
Yes, Clawful is one of my favorites, mostly because I remember an episode of the old Filmation show where his like hand came up out of the sand and he grabbed He-Man's foot, and pulled him underground, and like that just stayed with me, like because he was one of the few villains on the cartoon that actually had the upper hand on He-Man for a second. So in my mind, Clawful was, you know, pretty formidable if he was able to, even if just for a second, he could get the better of He-Man. You didn't see it often. I think Clawful did it once and Whiplash, and there were a few of them that had a moment where He-Man was strong.
You know, in the Bill universe over here, Clawful is probably one of the few of Skeletor's minions that'll stand up to his ass.
I like the version they did in the 2002 show. They made him really big, beefy, Hulk-sized Clawful.
Yeah,
and
but
the
they made him
figure looks, but they gave him a stupid, goofy voice for some reason that undermined the look of the Four Horsemen.
Dumb as a brick. I was so disappointed.
Yeah, I don't think that was actually how they intended it in the toy line, and that sculpt, which became the statue of the unmade figures.
Well,
I got him.
When I'm playing with my toys, I think of these storylines to go along with them. And in my mind, you got people like Beastman. Beastman is Skeletor's lackey.
Sure.
He would do whatever Skeletor wants. He'll suffer all the abuse that Skeletor gives him. He's kind of demented in the sense that he probably enjoys that. And if Skeletor were nice to him, he would wonder why Skeletor hated him.
Well, I mean, you'd see some moments where Beastman would snicker at Skeletor's misfortune, but I mean, I do think he's every bit the henchman more out of fear than respect, if I'm being honest.
Well, and then you've got Merman, who is in it for his own gain.
Correct.
I mean, if you read that original storyline, Merman had his own kingdom.
Merman was another one.
Submariner.
Well, and Merman was another one in those early comics where you seen him. He got the better of He-Man. There's a great picture of him with his foot on his chest.
The only reason he joined Skeletor was so he could get He-Man shit and be as strong as He-Man.
So, like, I was like a formidable villain because to me, if the hero just stomps all the time and the villain never has the upper hand, then is there really a struggle? So you got to have a formidable opponent.
But then you've got all the rest of the crew that shows up later, and that includes Clawful, Triclops, Trapjaw, all these guys. In my opinion, these guys are what we call punch card villains. What is a punch card villain? He works for the villain, but as long as he's on the clock, he's a bad guy. When he's off the clock, he not necessarily.
Well, I want to say the original Triclops, he was more of a mercenary.
I
think they revisited that in the DC comics later, where he was more of a thug for hire.
Yeah, I mean, if he wasn't getting paid by Skeletor, he's off on his own. Yeah, and these guys could go in business for themselves at any moment.
Yeah, I like in the 2002 show and in the various comics. If you're dealing with a Clawful, a Whiplash, or a Merman, they're not just one guy. They're an entire fucking race and species. If they want to rise up Lizardman style and fuck with you, they can, but they choose not to.
Trapjaw got his jaw broken, his arm cut off, and his face melted by Skeletor. He still works for him. No, see, that's the thing. That is a later version of Trapjaw. The original version of Trapjaw, we don't really know why he became Trapjaw. He lived in another dimension, and Skeletor accidentally brought him into this dimension when he was trying to get into Castle Grayskull with that walk through the wall spell that he made up. So,
and I do like me some Cronus, and I like the idea of him changing, but they have different versions of that lore. He's talking about a comic book where Skeletor did it to him. In another DC comic run, He-Man did it to him. And, they've got different versions.
Yeah, I get it. Papa, I'm not telling you you're wrong. I mean, there's no wrong story. They're all
different versions.
Yeah, there's so many multiple.
It's a multiverse. It's a multiverse, just like any other multiverse, be it Marvel, DC, whatever. But I'm talking in my demented multiverse that these characters live in.
In the original appearance.
Yeah, these guys could go off on their own at any moment. And one of the few that will stand up to Skeletor to his face, in my mind, is always Clawful.
Evil Lynn did quite a bit.
Well, Evil Lynn was out for her own. She was only there to get Skeletor's power so she could become the one.
Yeah. It was funny watching that 2002 show. She's like, I'm going to bring Hordak in. Hordak betrays her. I'm going to bring the Snakeman and King Hisson. They betray her. It's like, what, do you not learn anything?
Well, and Mike brings up the Masterverse story. Tell us a little bit about that, Mike, since you put it in the comments there.
If Joneser has it,
I do.
Jitsus,
Yeah, I
you bring
do.
it back, it's different.
Yeah, no, actually they have a comic book too, a latest comic book where Jitsu's in an attorney in prison, and then a different version of Prince Adam where he's the battle armor He-Man, and they break him out of the prison, and Jitsu's almost on the good guy side, sort of. And he kind of helps guide them to find Castle Grayskull. So the new Eternia stuff takes the lore into a whole different place. And
I read some of that last week.
Now, Pop Actor says, I was just saying that in the new version, he must be a dedicated employee after all that shit.
Or again, more out of fear than respect.
Pretty much.
He already got whooped. What's left?
What's your dental plan, Skeletor?
I will say
iron that I'm going to make your jaw into.
What's his name? Matros?
Yes.
He stood up to Skeletor.
Yes. There's a few of them that have, it's interesting to me. Some of my favorite stuff, though, especially because the Filmation show, I mean, we can all agree it was a little corny or a little campy at times, but sometimes they found some magic in playing Skeletor for laughs. And there's a great episode where I think it's Evil Lyn and Cobra Khan and Webster, and they kind of go off into business for themselves and they do their own thing. And then it all spills over to Snake Mountain, where they've got this device and they're hiding it from He-Man and his ally. And He-Man's beating on the wall, the Snake Mountain, and finally Skeletor paying attention. What's going on here? And He-Man's asking, Skeletor, surrender the life giver. And Skeletor looks down the window, sees He-Man, turns around, looks at Evil Lyn and the other guys and sees this machine. And he goes, is that the life giver? And they're like, yes. And then he just leans out the window and goes, sorry, He-Man, haven't seen it.
I do like that. Even though you had like the Filmation shows, they're visually nice to watch, great voice cast. The stories get cheesy and silly, but if you look at the core of He-Man and She-Ra, like what is Hordak, what is Skeletor? They're evil, unrepentant bastards that if you let up for a minute, they're just going to take over and fuck you all, and like you're going to be stuffed if you don't stand up to them. They're going to take every opportunity to screw everybody in that world. It's pretty dark in the themes, but light in the tone.
What I loved in that moment that I described, though, was that Skeletor not knowing what's going on, what that device is, why He-Man wants it, why Evil Lyn took it. He knows nothing about anything going on, but he knows exactly where he fits in here. He's like, I'm not giving it to him. I don't care what it is. And he even says that. He wants it. There's no way I'm giving him that, whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm going to do the opposite of what he wants because he is my enemy.
Right. And then He-Man says the magic words, if you don't give me that thing, Skeletor, I'm going to bash Snake Mountain until it's a pile of rubble. And then he's like, yeah, give it to him. And which makes me think, well, why wouldn't He-Man just do that anytime anyway? Like,
it was a rider,
Pop Actor, if you watched enough of me, which I know you have, that's me right there in a nutshell.
So you like the Conan Tarzan version?
Well, right. Yeah, and the thing about that was he was a little more vulnerable in those, in my opinion. He wasn't like Superman. He didn't have the Superman syndrome where it's hard to write for somebody who can do everything that there is in the world, and it's just
you pick up a mountain and throw it at your enemy.
He picked up Castle Grayskull and threw it one time. If I'm not
here's the problem with this: when you've got the hero that powerful and the villain has to fight from underneath. That kind of changes the dynamic because usually it's the hero fighting the all-powerful villain from underneath. But with He-Man, it's a bit of a different dynamic. Skeletor is usually the one fighting from underneath.
Yeah,
which almost puts a sympathetic light on him that shouldn't really be there.
Well, in my mind, I would like to take He-Man on the hero's journey that he needs to go on, where he starts out. And his first encounter with Skeletor is bad.
Right.
It ends up really, really, really bad for him because he doesn't have anything. He's shirtless. All he's got is a loincloth. He's barefooted. He's got a fucking spear, and he's fighting somebody who's got magic.
Yeah, no, that would be a funner way to do it.
Yeah, and then that's when That's when he saves the sorceress. That's when the sorceress says, "You're the one that was foretold." That there you go. You're on the hero's journey. Now he goes to the second part where he gets the power to defeat the villain.
Right. No, that would be a more exciting
comes back from
way
that
to do
initial
it.
defeat.
Yeah.
Come back and defeat Skeletor.
That's something they could have done that in their Netflix show instead of Teela. They could have done that. And even where that show ends up, where Teela becomes the goddess / sorceress, they already did that in comics around 2002, like going back years ago.
And give He-Man his battle axe back. Yeah, the sword was not something that He-Man kept. It was not something that Skeletor kept. That thing was taken away and hidden in 2 parts because nobody needed to have that. It was the key to get into the castle.
Right, and the castle was neutral ground. Nobody owned it. They would fight over it. In fact, Mattel's play pattern was supposed to be you would twist the flag.
And that's an X.
There you go. That's a 2000X axe.
Yeah. I just put him with the shiny one because it's just a big X to put on the cat.
Yeah. That's cool.
It just looks good.
That is very cool.
And my
we've already gone over 2 hours. I wasn't going to do 2 hours tonight, and we did it any damn way. Look at us.
That's right. That's how we roll.
Oh no! Don't play the Ducks yet.
I thought you were cueing me.
I wasn't cueing you, but
my highlight was seeing that She-Ra Castle. That was my favorite bit.
And I promised everybody that we were going to watch The Dangerous Stranger. It's 10 minutes. We'll watch The Dangerous Stranger, and then we'll feed some ducks. How about that?
So,
all right.
This is from the 1970s. Maybe you kids can learn something. See how many creepy people that you see in this video. One of them stands out in my mind. See if you can guess which one it is. Here we go, folks.
What's up, everybody? It's Joneser, your favorite comic book guy. So that was that the creepy one?
No.
Damn.
That was my mistake. I hit the button. And my little mousy thing was up right. That intro is right up above this one. Here we go. One more time here. The production values on this are very, very low, folks, because we have none.
Tip them and it'll get.
Unmute your mic there, Joneser.
He has some very important things to tell you. I hope you'll listen to him and remember what he says.
Right,
hi, kids. You've probably all heard stories about boys and girls who got into trouble, how they went off with strangers and their families never saw them again. I'm sure your parents and teachers have told you never to talk to strangers. But sometimes kids forget, and some kids think they know it all, that nothing could ever happen to them. Well, let's see. I'm going to tell you how some other boys and girls got mixed up with strangers, so we can be sure it never happens to us. Remember the story about little Debbie Vincent?
I'm on mute, Johnny. Sure. Here, I'm on mute.
Hi there, little lady.
Yeah, well, they got their mics
you're all
muted
alone.
now. They have to unmute themselves.
Wouldn't you like to go for a ride with me? I'll buy you some ice cream.
Oh, no.
Well, nobody saw her again. It was on the TV news.
And now, turning to the local scene, the search continues for little Debbie Vincent, missing since yesterday morning. So far, there are no clues to her disappearance. Police speculate that she must have forgotten her parents' warnings and perhaps gone off with someone in a car. No witness has been located who can give any description or license number that might help in tracking down the vehicle.
Debbie forgot what her parents had told her about strangers. And see what happened? Now let's look at some of the ways that we might run into trouble. It's not very smart to play in lonely places like this.
Hi. Either of you guys collect baseball cards?
Yeah, I do.
Here, they're yours.
Wow, thanks.
I got some more. I live pretty close. You want them?
You know what he plans
Okay,
on
let's
doing
go.
with them kids if they go with him?
We can only hope that he doesn't have to learn the
Nothing
hard
good.
way that his parents were right when they told him that strangers can be dangerous. A movie theater is a friendly place. What if somebody says hello to you or smiles? Well, that's probably all right.
Now this guy
Most
right here is
everybody
good
likes
for the
kids.
material.
Everybody likes kids.
This guy likes.
But this man followed the girl into the theater.
Right.
He isn't just an ordinary stranger who likes kids.
Big old empty theater. He's got to sit right there.
Oh, check
You
this
should
out.
never let a stranger put his arm around you or touch you. This girl is doing exactly the right thing, just what her parents had told her to. She changed her seat. But the man followed her again.
Looks like Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
All she can do now is to get the manager or the usher.
Look at this motherfucker's expression on his face after this.
Yeah, like I can't believe that just happened. Right.
There he is. That's the
I'm
man.
busted. Hello, I'm Chris Hansen. Rodney Dangerfield, the early days.
No respect. No respect.
Hi, Sally.
Do I know you?
I'm a friend of your mother's. She wants me to take you home.
Oh, okay. See you guys later.
Of course, Sally had been told never to get into a car with a stranger. But she forgot, too. It was only because her friend here wrote down the license number that Sally ever got home. Well, we've seen some dumb stunts. But one of the boys kept his head. He wrote down the license number of the car.
Hey, look, there's a police car.
I can't help
Exciting
thinking
music
that if they
there.
hadn't been hitchhiking, this wouldn't have happened at all. But that doesn't help much now, does it?
White four-door sedan, license number 359 Adam Ocean X-Ray.
Just remember, whether you're a boy or a girl, that could be you in that car. If you hitch rides.
You did him.
Now, wait a minute. Now it's a comedy farce. motorcycle guys start following them.
That's sort of tip. Hey, you move. Look out, the paunch is coming. That's because they defunded them. Can't find them no more.
Yeah.
This girl has had a narrow escape. What might have happened if her friend hadn't remembered to write down the license number?
If Porn Stash would have had his fun. That's what would have happened.
Well, boys and girls, what have we learned? Have these stories taught us anything? First, we've learned never to accept gifts from strangers. Nothing at all, not even candy. It's really very easy to say, no thank you. And you never go anywhere with a stranger.
Mom, boy, I got some baseball cards to show you.
Next, you should never let a stranger put his arm around you or touch you. And no matter what story a stranger may tell you, you never get into his car. Don't forget, hitchhiking is asking for a ride with a stranger, and that's really asking for trouble. If we remember to write down the license number of any car we're suspicious of, it might turn out to be very important. These are mostly things your parents and teachers have already told you. They know what they're talking about when they tell you that strangers can be dangerous, and that's the most important thing I wanted to tell you too. If you all remember that, it'll be pretty hard to get into trouble. Well, kids, any questions?
Now, the one that creeped me out the most. Who do you guess it was?
Was it the dude?
Mr. Bean?
I thought it was the dude that said he was the friend of the parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one or the Mr. Bean, one of those two.
It's pretty creepy, but the one in the movie theater who was touching the girl and kept moving over there.
Yeah, that's the Mr. Bean.
Yeah, Mr. Bean. Yeah, the one who had a hole in the popcorn bucket and all that shit.
Yeah.
If that happens in real life, get the fuck out of there. Don't move a seat. Get out, because he's going to pull you out of the seat.
I would have gone. If I had been her, I'd have been screaming bloody murder as soon as he came over there and put his arm on me. Ugh.
I could see my little sisters be like, "Don't fucking touch me." Make sure everybody heard it.
Yeah, exactly. Get away from me, you creep.
Right. Yeah, you gotta make some
if you were the
noise.
brother of that kid there, you would like smack him in the face and be like, "We're getting the fuck out of here."
Oh, talking about Rodney Dangerfield, who ran away because he was so scared once the kids hollered at him. Ted Bundy used that line on his last victim.
He did. He got her in the car and everything. Yeah.
Damn. So I think it was pop actor Rick. He said they never showed any of this to him when he was a kid. Now he knows what to do.
Yeah, my parents had this stranger danger talk, and I even had a moment in my life. I think I've shared it before on this show where we had to put it into practice, and it's some scary stuff because this does happen.
Didn't you say that the other kid was getting in the car with the guy?
No. She was thinking about it because the guy was asking for directions.
But then that was the you saw that he had
no pants on.
No pants. No pants.
Yeah, he had no freaking pants on. And he was bouncing up down the cars. He's talking to us, and we're like, I was too young.
While he talked to you.
Yeah, looking right at her, and he's openly, doing his thing. And I was too young then to understand what any of that meant, but I knew that we shouldn't get in the car. We need to get the fuck away from this guy.
Yeah. I remember at 5 or 6 years old in primary school, they talked to us about this kind of shit in a serious way. And we were all like, don't get in cars with strangers, don't walk with strangers, don't be around them. And I took that on for life, and it boggles my mind when people don't understand shit we understood at 5 years old. How the fuck do you not understand as an adult?
Right. But yeah, the creepiest part was
then along came the internet.
Yeah.
And all that shit went out the window, right?
Now we'll call a stranger on a phone, an Uber, and get in rhythm right away.
Yeah.
Not me.
Really.
I ain't never done the Uber, and I ain't never done the Airbnb shit.
I've done both.
And I never will.
And some of you single guys are probably over there on the Tinder swiping left and right on there all the time.
Yeah, that was after my time. So nope, not me.
Good times.
Don't get into no stranger taxi.
Remember the rule of the internet. If they say they're a woman, it's a guy. If they say they're a guy, it's a guy. If they say they're a kid, it's the FBI.
If they say they're He-Man, they're not.
It's me.
It's Jones are in a furry costume.
All right. Well, I think this is about it, folks. Let's play some ducks and let's say goodbye to everybody. Mike, had a good time, man. Enjoyed seeing your She-Ra collection there.
Oh, yeah, man.
And Ronnie, it's always great to have you on the show. If I'm not mistaken, in sometime in the future here, we're going to do a spotlight like the Largo days, but it's going to be Johnny Sorensen, and we're going to do it on Popeye the Sailor Man. Absolutely. And Joneser, you did a wonderful job of filling in for me last week, and I'm so glad you could come on today.
I appreciate that.
He did.
And Ocean Breed Salty reminds us that tomorrow was Father's Day, so all of you fathers out there, happy Father's Day. And if you have a father, enjoy him, because one day you'll be gone and you'll be sorry. And all I can say is tune in tomorrow and we'll look at my new toys, because I'm going to unbox this stuff and show them all. And good journey, everybody. And we enjoyed having everybody here tonight with us. So y'all take care.
Thanks, guys.
Special thanks to the channel supporters. Without your help, these adventures would not be possible. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's adventure, please hit like, subscribe, and share the video.